Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be doing a review for the defenders in FIFA, and these are going to be for the best defenders that you can possibly use for Futchamps. You know, the most ideal that you may want to use, because there's always going to be problems with certain center backs until you get the legends. So again, not everybody is perfect. They have their own unique characteristics that make them good and make them bad. So what makes a good center back, right? So first and foremost, one of the most important things, right, is the height. You need someone who's tall, right? Because if someone is, 5'9", 5'10", and, even if they have good jumping stats and good strength, it just won't be as good as someone who actually has the height. And that's always been a thing in FIFA. You can have 90 jumping while being 5'9", and a 6'2" player can have 82 jumping and still jump higher than you, way higher, significantly higher than you, because of the fact that they do have the height. So that's the first and foremost thing. Second thing you got to be looking at 100% is the pace. Pace is very important. Now, something that I explain to people all the time is that I feel like pace is more important than it's more important for the defending than it is for the attacking. Pace is still important for both things, but it's more important for the defending, right? So that's why your CDMs have to have pace, your center backs need to have pace, and your fullbacks need to have pace. Why is it important for them to have pace? It's important for them to have pace because defensive AI in this game, or even when you're just controlling a player, the defenders catch up to the attackers, even if the attackers have like 90 pace, right? Depending on the situation, depending how far they get away from you, right? So it's important to have that pace so that they can do that consistently. Someone like Laporte, who has 67 pace, can still catch up to Aubameyang. But imagine if you have a bare minimum, and this is what I really suggest to you guys, if you had a bare minimum of 72 pace, you'd be able to catch up to them consistently, right? So with that out of the way, now we're going to look at these specific characteristics. Other than the pace, obviously defending and physical stats, all defenders or most defenders are going to be looking at here have the defense and physical. But other than those specific things, we're going to be looking at other stats, right? Other stats include, right, work rates. Which type of work rate do you want to have on your players? So the different types of work rates you may experience is medium, high, medium, high, right? All these characteristics for players for their work rates, they're all going to be acting differently. Now, bless it that Chiellini is now medium high. 69 pace still really sucks, and it's still very noticeable on the card because, like I always say to people, you will always notice the base pace or the base stats more than you will notice the chemistry style upgrade. So even if you gave him a shadow card, he still wouldn't transition left and right properly. Now, transitioning left and right in FIFA is all about acceleration, sprint speed, agility, and balance together, right? If those four things together are very good, they can transition left and right while defending. That's basically you using the thumbstick to move left and right. They transition more smoothly, right? If you guys notice, Conte is one of the best at doing that. Why? Because of his center of gravity. It's really low, right? So someone who is 5'6" with good ability, good agility, good balance, he's going to be able to move left and right really smoothly. Now, obviously, there's some players that have the good acceleration, sprint speed, agility, and balance. But as you guys know, crossing in this game is very effective. So you want to have people who have a very good physical presence as well as a jumping presence, right? And then obviously being able to head the ball to a certain direction. So in that regard, Chiellini is a fantastic card, but transitioning, like I said, left and right with him is not necessarily going to be too ideal. And there are going to be situations where you're going to have to kind of predict where he's going to make his little pass for his passing lane, and your player's going to have to get the ball, and he won't be able to do that because the transitioning will be harder with him. If you are playing in sluggish gameplay, delayed gameplay, your players, it will be harder to transition your players left and right because of the sluggish feel. It's kind of like this motion of kind of controlling a ship. If you ever get that feeling, it's going to be worse with these types of cards, right? That's just a given fact. Someone like Fernandez, Nacho, right? He's one of the best players at transitioning, right? You could see that he has the 83 interceptions, the 84 heading accuracy, 71 acceleration, 80 sprint speed. It's actually more important to have acceleration than it is sprint speed, right? So if it was 80 acceleration, 71 sprint speed, that would be more preferable because you need to be able to accelerate quickly to catch up to the ball and then try to get it afterwards, right? This card looks fantastic, right? But the thing you will always notice with these cards, the thing you will always notice is the height. 5'11 isn't bad. He is medium high work rate, so that's fantastic, right? But you will always notice that he's 5'11. It doesn't matter that he has 83 jumping and 84 heading accuracy. Someone who is 6'2", 3, 4 with similar jumping, which most center backs do have similar jumping. It'll be usually around like a minimum of like 77 and higher. It's just more ideal that way, right? It's ideal to have someone who is taller. If he has 83 jumping, but he's also like 6'2", then it wouldn't be that bad. But 83 jumping while being, 5'11" is not necessarily ideal. Now again, when he's on the ball, dribbling wise with him, he's going to be awesome because he has the reaction, ball control, so on and so forth. Transitioning again left and right with him will be very nice, but it just won't be worth it in the long haul in regards to those crosses inside the box, right? So gotta be very careful though. But this guy can play well for you. He definitely can. But those are types of things that you'll be missing with the card, right? Medium high work rates. For me personally, I think the medium high work rate is the best one. I think that's the most balanced one, so that your players can aggressively push up a little bit, but not too much, right? Medium is okay, but you need a balance of your two center backs being at decent work rates, right? Rafael Varane. So Varane's card is actually fantastic as well. One of the better cards in this game. Why? Because his pace, right, makes up for his lack of balance, but he also still has a little bit of agility, right? So with his card, right, he's got good defending stats. He's got great composure. Composure is huge for defending. It's like basically like, how would I explain it? It's basically like the pressure your player feels when he has the ball at his feet, right? Aggression, 77, 85 strength, 79 jumping. 79 jumping, but is 6'3". So those things go hand in hand with each other, right? If you have 79 jumping and you're comparing it with someone like Cannavaro who has 90 jumping, you would still take Varane over the Cannavaro any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those types of situations. But yeah, so Varane's acceleration and sprint speed outweigh his agility and balance. It's good that his agility is 63 because it actually helps it out a lot, but it outweighs it a little bit, making him a significantly better card just because his balance is really poor. But it makes it look way better than it actually is. He's also medium high work rates. Medium high work rates, again, one of the better work rates to have in this game. And just a very good card in general, right? He'll be able to win the ball for you in the air with 79 jumping and 85 strength while being 6'3". And he'll just be a force at the back four. So that's with someone like Varane. Van Dijk. So Virgil van Dijk, this guy costs a lot of money, okay? Now, the reason why Virgil van Dijk, this is his inform card, but just as an example, right? It's only like a 1 or 2 stat difference. The thing about Virgil van Dijk's card is that you'll notice right off the bat, he doesn't have the acceleration, he doesn't have the sprint speed, he doesn't have the agility, he doesn't have the balance. Those are things that are very, very noticeable in the game. Absolutely, hands down, no questions asked. But he is 6'4" while having a big physical stature in game, 94 strength, 87 jumping. 87 jumping while being 6'4", guys. 87 jumping, right? He's got great defensive stats. He has a standing tackles, a sliding tackles, a composure. 86 composure is huge. Absolutely huge, right? He has a sprint speed to make up for the lack of acceleration a little bit. You got to give him a shadow card, in my opinion. I don't think it's worth using an anchor on him, to be honest. But he's one of the better center backs in the game, right? Now, those 4 stats don't work with each other, but that's the thing about these cards, right? Do you notice his sluggish feel? You do, but he makes up for it in other areas of his card that makes his card significantly better, right? That's why he's so expensive, because the biggest reason is that he has a huge physical stature in game. The physical stature is everything for this card, right? Mehdi Benatia, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was too bad. He actually did okay for me. Medium high work rate, 6'2", can't go wrong with that. 6'2" while being 86 jumping, 83 hitting accuracy, good defensive stats. Fantastic physical stats. Stamina 69 doesn't really matter for the center back too much, because the only time that the players will be using stamina is when they're marking people and when they go up for a corner and then they have to go back into the 18-yard box, into their own 18-yard box, right? Mehdi Benatia, 6'2", medium high, fantastic as well, right? Koulibaly is an interesting one because Koulibaly's high work rates. Now, with high work rates, right, it'll basically mean that your player will be more prone to trying to aggressively get the ball back, right? High attacking. So for instance, if you lose possession of the ball, right, your center back may be higher up the pitch than he is lower in the pitch, right? People like Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos, if you guys have noticed, like competitive FIFA, right? People who have a Sergio Ramos in their team, what they end up doing, or what they like to do, is they like to aggressively intercept in the midfield, right? So when you lose possession of the ball, if someone tries to do a driven pass to one of their strikers, these types of center backs will kind of bud their way into the person and get the ball back, right? So that's why Koulibaly is sick in that regard. His general movement is pretty terrible. That's a given. But he is 6'2" with 81 jumping, 94 strength. So he's making up for it a little bit, right? But I think that the problem with this card is that his agility is too low in regards to everything else to make him a good card, because I think 50 agility is far too low. If you were like at a 63, 64, and then he had like a 72 acceleration, the card would be awesome. 40 balance, it's just going to be too sluggish. Moving left and right with him, it's not going to be ideal, right? So I wouldn't necessarily use the Koulibaly at all, to be honest. Azpilicueta is another good example of a card that's very similar to Nacho Fernandez, right? So very short player, 5'10", but again, transitioning left and right, beautiful. Acceleration, sprint speed, agility, balance is there while being 5'10". Center of gravity isn't too bad, right? So as a center back, moving left and right will be good with him. But imagine having someone, right, who's 5'10", medium work rates is okay, but who's 5'10" and 76 jumping, right? You're just going to concede a lot of crosses. Like, people cross in this game quite often, and he's just not going to be an ideal type of player to have in those situations when people want to cross the ball in. Other players, this Hernandez card is actually pretty solid. I have tried this card out as a center back, and I would highly recommend you guys using him because he's pretty awesome. Reason why he's awesome is because this card is originally a left back, so his general dribbling attributes and his passing attributes will be very similar to his fullback card. So with this card, right, he pretty much has everything he needs, right? Because he is also 6 foot tall, right, with 85 jumping, which isn't amazing, but it's still pretty decent because he has a pretty big physical stature in game as well. Not as big as Virgil van Dijk's. I think Virgil van Dijk's is one of the biggest I've seen. Medium high work rates, left-footed, because so if you're using Hernandez as your right center back, it's probably the most ideal because of being able to block those finesse shots with his left foot, sticking it out, right? I like strong foot on the opposite side this year. Last year, I used to be strong foot on the strong side, right? But it's nowadays, it's definitely it's strong foot on the opposite side. So left on the right, right on the left. Because if you guys know my team right now, the teams I like to use is always the left-footed players on the right side because of those time finesse shots, right? Super clutch situations. Sergio Ramos, honest to God, man, one of the best center backs in the game. Probably it's not even one of the best. He probably might be the best, and you'll see right off the bat why, right? 76 acceleration, 75 sprint speed with 78 agility. The balance being 66 is an extra, right? But the 78 agility, 76 acceleration, 75 sprint speed, the transition with him left and right is absolutely butter smooth with him, depending on your gameplay, right? Defending stats, fabulous. Literally bare minimum of a 90, except for the marking, right? But obviously if you give him an anchor card, that doesn't matter, right? His physical stats, 93 jumping with 83 strength. 93 jumping while being 6 foot. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic card to use. Now, the thing that some people don't like about his card, the biggest thing, this is the difference with this card and other cards, work rates, high, medium. This type of center back is going to aggressively push out of position sometimes, right? Because he wants to aggressively get the ball back. If you can defend well with Sergio Ramos, doing that sometimes as a characteristic, you'll be in a very good situation because other than that one thing, he's a really good center back, and he's probably one of the better ones. Like, I had him in a draft, I would say 2 or 3 times, and he's the difference maker as a center back. Like, it's just because he moves so smoothly off the ball. That's what makes his card so good. Godin right off the bat, I don't like the pace, right? The agility and balance, not great. He has good jumping though, right? Because he is 6'2", right? 91 jumping is great. 92 heading accuracy, fantastic. But the agility, balance, acceleration, sprint speed, trying to catch up to the ball is not necessarily ideal, right? Other players we have here, players that I'm currently using, is Eric Bailly and Virgil van Dijk, which is a pretty solid partnership. People have been wondering why I've been using Eric Bailly over Davinson Sanchez, and the reason being for that is because he actually has the jumping stat as well as the strength and aggression, whereas Davinson Sanchez has 73 jumping, right? So as a center back, I don't necessarily like him too much because when crosses come in, he's not that great at handling them. He is also 6'2", but having one person being 6'2" and then having someone like Eric Bailly being 6'2", there's no point of using Davinson Sanchez, who costs more than Bailly, just for the extra nothing, to be honest, right? Azpilicueta, Gabriel Palish is a cheap option. Other players we have here, Chiellini, low on pace. Hummels, low on pace. Boateng, a very good card as well, except lacking in the jumping. But he is 6'4", so maybe the jumping won't be that big of a deal, but definitely got to give him an anchor regardless. Jonathan Tah has poor agility and balance. He doesn't have the acceleration to make up for it, but maybe the sprint speed does. Jumping's poor. Don't even look at this card. Manolas is a good card. His acceleration and sprint speed make up for his... Actually, his agility being 68 with the acceleration sprint speed is a good balance right there already. 59 balance is a nice little plus, but he has the 86 jumping while being 6'2" low high. The low high is the problem for me personally. I don't like the low high. Low high is too inviting, right? Because finesse shots are so effective that it's not necessarily ideal to use low high work rates. Skriniar, I've used Skriniar's card. Really liked this card, to be honest. The passing stat, I noticed the passing stat more than any other year in this year's game. Like, him having 57 passing is actually really noticeable now. But he is pretty big, 6'2", right? But he has a pretty big physical stature in game. So the physical stature definitely helps out a lot, but he does lack in the jumping. And I did concede some crosses when I was using my initial Serie A teams. So be very careful using cards like Skriniar for that regard. But I did enjoy using him for what he was. Thiago Silva, very similar situation, right? You can transition left and right with him really nicely because 6 foot tall isn't like 6'2", 6'3". So the difference isn't as much. His acceleration, sprint speed, agility, and balance is a pretty good balance between each other. He's got 90 jumping, 82 strength, so he can deal with the crosses coming from the air. But he's one of those players that is aggressively push up, aggressively push back. So it'll be a very weird card to use, but it can be ideal in certain situations. And then the last card is Kimpembe. Kimpembe's awesome. I liked using this card a lot. And I didn't even know his stats, but I enjoyed using this card. Agility 77, acceleration, sprint speed, beautiful, right? 78 jumping, definitely a downfall of his card for the crosses. You'll notice it no matter what. 6'2", high work rates, left-footed. But it's a fun card to use, man. I enjoy using this card, and I think he's better than Thiago Silva and Marquinhos, to be honest. I think he plays really well in anyone's team, to be honest. But that is going to conclude the video for today, guys. Those are the ideal center backs that you want to look for. So try to get players that are good. Like right now, I'm using Eric Bailly and Virgil van Dijk. Like, they have things that are missing with their cards, but you can't really be perfect. Eric Bailly is pretty solid, but Virgil van Dijk definitely does more work than Bailly because Virgil van Dijk's just huge, man. That guy's physical stature is massive in game. So definitely makes a difference for me. But that is conclude the video for today, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know what types of videos you guys want to see, because I don't really know what else people are really interested in watching for YouTube content. So if you guys are interested in watching anything else, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Some things that people ask, just make sure that it's not in the FIFA 19 tutorials playlist, because some of the things will already be there. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you guys enjoyed it, please drop a thumbs up on it. Definitely helps the channel on. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Love you guys.